Hello, hello. My name is Justin D. Jenkins, the managing editor of the Quintessential Gentleman, and I'm here with none other than Chance Brown, the ultimate family man, who will be featured in our family issue coming out soon. Chance, how are you?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Again, thank you for having me, man.
Awesome, awesome. Now, I got a chance to meet you and your lovely wife Tabitha at ABFF. I'm not sure if you remember at the Black Excellence Brunch. So that was the first time that I was saying, like, wanted to interview you, get you in the issue. I remember being there, and so many people was just, coming up to you guys and taking pictures and showing you so much love. When you're at events like that, and especially now being such in the public eye, what kind of goes through your head during the event and even after the event, seeing like you become such a role model for people?
That's a good question, man.
Start off.
You
Got to
know
start
what?
off right.
Hey, to be honest with you, I'm like, wow. Every time, every
Yeah.
time I go to an event, it's kind of hard because it's kind of hard to believe that this is our new life. And myself, I deal with imposter syndrome.
Gotcha.
So when I'm meeting people, I'm like, why are these people fans, or why do they love us so much?
Yeah.
My wife, because she's a lovable person, I'm like, hey, I get it, right?
Yeah.
But and still with her, because it happened so fast, uh, I'm still like, wow, like it just seems like yesterday me and her was sitting, as young teenage, sweethearts,
Yeah.
talking about all of this. And then now for it to come to pass. But then when you look at me, I'm like, when people are coming up wanting to meet me and greeting me, I'm like, what's the? I don't get it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And to hear you introduce me as the ultimate family man, I'm like, man, like, dude, it's still kind of like wow for me.
Yeah. Definitely. Well, I
Yeah.
was right. I mean, it's true. You give so much of yourself and a glimpse into your life as well. I always say that you're such an example, and you're kind of someone that is someone in the community who's given so much service. Has that always been the goal for you? I know you were in the LAPD for 15 years, and that's a way of kind of giving back to the community and being of service. Growing up, did you always know you wanted to be in this position?
No, honestly, no. I just living life, man, and
Yeah.
try. Um, I felt like LAPD. I felt like my wife. I made some bad decisions early on in my teenage life, right? So in my decisions with college and things of that nature. So I always felt like those were my second opportunities, and I just wanted to make the best of them.
Yeah.
Uh, I've always wanted to be a decent human being. I ain't out here trying to win no awards. I just
Yeah.
like, hey, and when you have kids, um, your contribution to the world should matter. I just was like trying to be a decent human being, being a good supporter to somebody who saw me when it was difficult for me to see myself and my wife, and as it pertains to just how I walk about the world, man. I just, it's like you see some pretty dark things when you're in the law enforcement world,
Yeah.
right? You see some things that no matter how good you are, or no matter what happens in this world, it's never going to change. Um, but I just always wanted to put out some good energy. You know what I mean? Just like, hey, man, just for the sake of my son, just for the sake of my family, just for the sake of Black folks, I just want to be a good representation and put out some good energy.
Yeah. And you talk about just those decisions you made early on in your life. What was the turning point where you saw that you were meant for so much more and kind of was just like, it's time to get my act together? And is that just a driving factor of why you are of service so much in your community, showing the family and showing what second chances and third chances can do?
Yeah, the turning point, I would have to say, is when I witnessed my mother-in-law, her death.
Yeah.
Uh, I was I like to refer to it as I asked God for several years to show Himself to me, let me witness a miracle. And in her passing, I think I was able to witness a miracle.
Yeah.
I was able to encounter someone who I truly believe was an angel. Um, her relentless faith, and her decision to literally check out of here. um, it put a lot of things into perspective about life and the decisions that we make and how we live and how we love and how we respect others. And that was just the turning point for me. She told me prior to her death, um, she prophesied everything that is happening right now in our lives,
Wow.
literally everything. She told me that I had a ministry, and if you know me, if you've done a little, I wasn't raised in any church. Can't
Yeah.
give you no, can't give you nothing from the Bible, nothing, right?
Yeah.
So when she told me that, I was like, nah, ma. I know you love me, but you don't really, yeah, I do a lot outside of your house
Yeah.
that you don't know about, but um, but to later find out and hear it again from somebody else and be given the definition of what ministry is and your testimony and how it can help others, to see it come full circle. She even told me that I was going to be in law enforcement before I was in law enforcement.
Wow.
So many things that she prophesized over. So to witness her pass and be bedside with her with a smile on her face, knowing that she wasn't going to see tomorrow,
Yeah.
um, and still be uplifting others, was the turning point definitely in my life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's interesting that you talk about her uplifting others because now this is what you're doing, right? You do it when you share so much, and you're doing with your organization, Team Chance Basketball. And after 15 years, you was able to retire from the LAPD, but you still kept that mission of service. Can you speak a little bit about your organization and how that came to be?
It's something that Team Chance is, man, that's like my heart, man.
Yeah.
That's my place of peace. I love kids, man. I tell people this all the time. I love kids. I tolerate adults. I do. I'm a firm believer in kids, and the age that I deal with is from 9 until 13. I really feel like those are the most important years of everyone's lives. This is where you're being shaped and where you're starting to develop your own personality. And if you're not given a little bit of guidance, it can determine the outcome of your adult life. It's a nonprofit. It's my way of, giving back and building a village as well for my son. I realize the importance of a village, and it's my own twist of tapping into the past, in the way of where I think a lot of people are afraid of discipline and holding kids accountable, and old school coaching with some new methods as well. It Man, it's my everything, man. It's
Yeah.
my everything.
Yeah.
I was able to leave LAPD and go and do this full time and shape and mentor some kids for the future. And it has very little to do with basketball. I
Yeah.
love basketball. I do. But I use basketball more or less as a carrot. Like it's just that thing, that we all have in common that we enjoy. But I use it to shape good humans.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, that's what I'm trying to do. I want to do my part in building up the youth and building professional humans, not professional ball players. You know what I
I
mean?
love that you say that. And something that is not a basketball camp, you would kind of think so, but I love that you guys say it's a skills training camp or training
Mm-hmm.
program, and you have mentorships. So, besides your love of basketball and maybe people enjoy watching it, why do you think sports or even just basketball is a way to help build character and growth for these kids to kind of go out and do some good things in their own careers and their lives?
Um, well, basketball, just for me, is the one that I'm mostly familiar with. But I feel like in most team sports, it teaches you have to learn how to work with others. You got
Yeah.
to be accountable so you don't fail others. It's a sport where you got to learn how to advocate for yourself, right? You got to learn you got to learn how to be punctual. You got to learn how to do things outside of the classroom, off the court. So you can come and see me twice a week, 3 times a week, and you can be decent, right? But in life, if you just go and try to be decent at anything or average at anything, right? That's what you're gonna be. Is you're gonna be average. So if you want to be great, you're gonna have to do some stuff outside of the classroom. You're gonna have to do some stuff off the court. Um, there's a sense of brotherhood and sisterhood, and that thing that and this one just popped in my head. It's a way too for me to support parents,
Mm.
right? And assist them with their things that they're teaching their kids at home,
Yeah.
um, and teachers, right? I feel like a lot of the a lot of the responsibility of raising our youth is being forgotten. Um, and I accept the challenge. I'm
Yeah.
like, hey, listen, everything from the past is not it's not bad, right?
Mhm.
Sometimes I get concerned that people are trying to do away with a lot of how we hold our youth and kids accountable, um, to bring on new methods, and everything from the past is not great.
Yeah.
But I feel like you gotta have a good segue in there to be able to pull from the past and know what's good, and selective about what we introducing our kids to.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, that's that's just my take on it. That's Team Chance, man.
Yeah, it's that balance, like you say. I guess you want to call it the old school way and new methods, and open it up, and how I guess you were raising kids, or just whatever
Yeah,
type of family that you're raising, or the people you're surrounding yourself with. Something special that you shared on social media was you were, I guess, coaching your son 101, and you
yeah,
spoke to I guess the difficulties that you have from being a coach dad. You can be a dad, you can be a coach, you can be a dad, but you're a coach dad. And you also stated that you didn't really care if he was going to be on to play professional or even college or even high school. Can you kind of talk about those moments you share with him 101, and being a coach dad, has that helped you become a better parent to raising a young black boy in this world?
yes. It absolutely has. It's very, very trying at times,
Yeah.
but I'm very intentional about it. I don't want my son to be pressured to. If he decides today that he doesn't want to play basketball, I'm completely fine with it.
Yeah.
I don't want to lose sight of how good he is, and start focusing on things that are way down the line that we don't get to enjoy each other and what we're being blessed to be able to do. My father wasn't around. My
Yeah.
mom was not able to be around during these years, right? And I don't want to lose sight that the more important thing is the things that I was touching on earlier. I need him to understand that, yeah, we want you to, work as hard as you can, right? But I want you to take away from this more so between these ages that I deal with him is independence, how to advocate, accountability, integrity, work ethic, things of that nature, and not lose sight of that for the site of, I want to go to the NBA,
Yeah.
right? Because those things can translate anywhere in this world, right? But if I just focus on him putting the ball in the goal and making sure he wins all the time,
Yeah.
and and not allowing him to lose and go through adverse moments, I'm not preparing my son for the future, right? So when I walk in, and it's difficult to do because I'm still his dad, right? It's times where I want to be like, I just want to celebrate my son,
Yeah.
right? But I can't. I can't take that hat off because I've accepted the role of being his coach.
Mm.
So I'm very intentional about when we walk in the gym every day. Every day when we walk in the gym, I hug him, I kiss him, I say, hey, you got any questions for dad? Because dad about to check out, and he'll kind of laugh and be like,
Yeah.
no, dad, I'm cool. I said, um, all right, coach is here. Let's roll. Let's go get it, right?
Yeah.
But I'm also intentional about when we're home, and we're working out in the backyard, and if he comes and he says, hey, dad, hey, can we go put up some shots? And I'll tell him, like, nah, man, I don't want to be coach today. I just want to be a dad, man. What you want me to do? You tell me what you want me to do. What you need help with?
Yeah.
Because I need that just as much as he needs me, right? I love my son. I want to be his dad, right? Like, so it's
Right.
like, hey, listen, tell me what. Let's have some fun, man.
Yeah.
You know, let's have some fun as dad and son. So I'm intentional about that, and I try to. I didn't realize how many coach dads out there struggle with it.
Mhm.
Right? I get a lot of people asking me like, how do you navigate it?
Yeah.
And I tell them like, just be intentional, like on both ends.
Yeah.
But be you got to practice some discipline and no, you can't just flip flop them hats right
Right.
in the middle of the game. You can't
Yeah.
just go, hey,
Yeah.
look, man, like, hey, no, right now I'm gonna be his dad, right?
Yeah.
When he gets hurt, like everybody else's parents, my heart drops, right? I'm like, oh man, but
Yeah.
I gotta maintain coach. You feel me? I gotta assess that situation and be like, hey, I gotta maintain coach for the betterment of him,
Yeah.
right? So he knows that in life you have to have some form of consistency. You have to know the stage that you signed up for, right?
Mm.
Um, have I failed at times? Yeah, I'll get there. Hey man, you okay? My heart come out my chest.
Yeah.
And he'd be like, Dad, I'm cool. I could tell by his voice. He like, hey, snap back, dog. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
like, hey, okay, yeah, all right, man.
Yeah.
Dad, kind of my heart was coming out, man, because I'm still his dad, right? But I try to do the best that I can with it.
And it's awesome that he's able to kind of help you snap back, which is also a testament to what you've been doing, right? Teaching him consistency and having
Yes.
that discipline. So that's amazing to hear. What do you say to those fathers who, not even coaches, but going back to, we've all been a part of it or seen it, wanting their, son or daughters to play professionally. You're only in this to get to this point, and you're able now to say, listen, I'm teaching them other things, and that's not always the end goal. What do you say to those fathers to say, listen, you have to be a dad first as well, and understand that that might not be what they're going to become, but take what you can from these lessons or the practices or the games that they are a part of?
I just say, B, you know what? I try to stay away from telling somebody how to parent.
Yeah.
You get what I mean?
Yeah.
I even try to stay away from, even if giving advice on coaching because I don't think that I'm an expert at either one, right? I
Okay.
don't like. I'm one of those dudes. Is just if they ask me, hey man, my advice is just be mindful of how many years is in front of them.
Yeah.
Be mindful of the odds, right? And you don't get like I miss my son being little where I could pick
Yeah.
him up. And I never thought that I would miss that,
Right.
right? He too big now, right? And it went by so quick.
Yeah.
You get me?
Yeah.
So you don't get those years back. These are very, very crucial years um, in the learning and the bonding stage, right? So, and skill and growth, those things between 9 and like 15, man, it's not but so much that you're gonna be able to do, right?
Yeah.
You might have a freak of nature, right? But that may, be 12 years old and be able to play with 17, 18-year olds.
Yeah.
But I'm just not that pressed, and nor do I want to. And I think it has a lot to do with my career, law enforcement, with seeing how quickly life can change or be altered or be taken away. And also, like I said earlier, with witnessing my mother-in-law, that just putting things into perspective,
Yeah.
right? Prioritizing that stuff don't really matter to me. I want him to want it, right? I just want to be his dad. If he wants it, right, whatever he wants, and if he picks up on those things that I'm trying to instill in him,
Yeah.
I'm gonna knock down walls for him, right? Um, but but if he doesn't, but he picks up these things, I'm cool,
Yeah.
right? So I just would to answer your question, I just would just if they ask me, hey, just put it into perspective, man. What's more important to you?
Yeah.
You don't get what I mean? What's more important? I don't. Is that your dream or is it his? I wanted to
Yeah.
go to the NBA. There's times where I'm like, honestly, and listen, with me being older, where sometimes I'm like, man, I wish my son didn't pick this sport.
Yeah.
I wish that you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I know the odds and I know what's to come and I know the culture, right?
Yeah.
Um, I'm not going to discourage him, right? I enjoy the sport, but it's oftentimes where I'm like, man, dang, this is a uphill battle for him, and he's really in love with it, and I'm like, dude, don't be so hard,
Yeah.
it ain't the end of the world. We can find something else, you know.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's his thing, right? But you know, it's a very difficult. Those are difficult waters to navigate in when
Yeah.
you're a coach dad and you out there, man. You gotta really be careful that it's not your dream. It's not you. It's you're not getting to relive it, man.
Yeah.
You know, but and I'm not putting my son's childhood, you know, our bonding time. I'm not putting anything ahead of that. He
Yeah.
needs to learn how to be a young man, you know. So
Yeah. No, I
yeah,
definitely love that. And thank you for your vulnerability as being a father. Because I mean, I think people are starting to come to terms that you are a vulnerable Black man, which there's strength in that. And you're very vulnerable when it comes to your marriage with Tabitha and the highs and lows that you guys have gone through. And then even in your podcast and the things that you share. Was that a natural progression? Like when you guys spoke and said, listen, we're going to, put ourselves out there and we're going to talk about our experiences, or did the universe kind of push you to that? And has it strengthened your relationship even with her, being so vulnerable and so open in these moments?
absolutely. In the beginning, man, I didn't want to have nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
Like I, nah.
Yeah.
I was terrified by doing this kind of thing right here. Like, nah, man.
Yeah.
However, it was when I was kind of late to the party with who my wife was in the
Got it.
social media world.
Okay.
And I was always to put my head down, just she happy, she on the computer talking to people, I'm cool, right? That was always my thing. And it was maybe a year or two. I'm talking about my wife was like very popular for like 2 years before I really came to grasp of what she was.
Got it. Yeah.
And I would come in the house and she would be doing videos and I just didn't care. I was like, I guess I'm just kind of old school. Like I was like, man, just turn the camera so these people can't see our house, man. I don't like these people in my living room. You know, you gotta tell me when, you know, like that kind of.
Yeah.
And I over time, because I had encountered so many people while traveling with her. Well, let me just take it back. You know, I'm gonna take. I went for the first time that I recognized what my wife was. She asked me to take a trip with her to Chicago, right? And I was like, all right, I'll take the trip with her. She's going to host this event, and now being somewhat a celebrity in LA and somewhere else in this country is completely different. We were
Yeah.
moving about in LA. Nobody knew my wife, right? I didn't really know what her numbers were on social media because I didn't even have an Instagram at the time. I
Yeah.
was like, I ain't doing no social media,
Yeah.
right? I'm in law enforcement, right? So I'm like, my mind is like that. So we get to Chicago, and I'm like, okay, she's going over here, and I'm expecting like her to just do this little small event with a few, Black women, just buying her T-shirts and stuff like that. And when we get there, we walk out to this venue, and I'm like, oh man, this is dope. And they got, this vegan thing. They got all this food out here, and it's about 4 or 5 thousand people,
Whoa.
right? So I'm like, I'm looking, and I'm like, okay, man, this thing popping out here, man. This is cool. I'm glad I came.
Yeah.
And I see this group of women, maybe 7 or 8 women, man, and they turn and they look, and they remind me of my mom, them kind of women, right? So, and I see them, and they start walking in our direction real fast, and I turn and look at my wife, and I'm like, hey, somebody out here, right? There's a stage and all that. I was like, hey, some celebrity or something must be out here, right? And my wife she doesn't say anything. She's just like, real nonchalant.
Yeah.
And I'm literally looking around the parking lot, like, who are these people racing over here to see? Who they racing over? And then I see 2 security guards. They start walking towards us. And I'm already like, like, hey, we ain't did
Yeah.
nothing wrong.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
why they coming towards us? Like, I'm
Right.
pulling out my credentials, right?
Yeah.
Like, man,
Right.
man, man,
Yeah.
and steady looking, and these people are screaming and running to my wife. And the security comes like, Mrs. Brown, we got to get you backstage before the people see.
Yeah.
And I'm like, so now the major crowd inside of the event starts rushing over. And I'm like, I look at her and I'm like, all these people here to see you. And she starts laughing at me.
Yeah.
Like, I had no clue.
Yeah.
Right. So I was really, my head was down. You know what I mean? My head was down. I was a supportive husband, but I just never felt the need to be involved in my wife's life. I've always been very protective and just that kind of person. Like, okay,
Yeah.
you know, baby, do your thing. She want to follow her dream. All right, you need to go to class. I'm gonna go get some overtime hours,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I'm gonna pay for it for you. What do you need? You need to go to this school. You need to go. You need to do this. You know. So when it was time for her to put me on, when she was asking me, babe, people found that to be humorous, right? So
Yeah.
I was like, hey, that I was oblivious to it and didn't really know. Like, man, all right, I ain't know my wife, y'all liked her this much, right? So she was trying to get me to get on camera, and I would, but I was really uncomfortable with it,
Yeah.
like because I was like, man, I don't want to mess this up for you. You know, I can curse on occasion. I ain't really built for the camera. You know, I'm like, man, I don't want to say something that's offensive. I
Yeah.
don't want to mess it up. You get what I mean? Being
Yeah.
respectful of her workplace,
Yeah.
right? So we started traveling, and they are asking for me to come. I got churches, and I'm
Wow.
like, man, I was not ready. I don't need to be up on no stage at church. I'm gonna look like an idiot,
Yeah.
right? Like I might mess around and embarrass my whole family. Like I'm not doing that, and be circulating around the world and saying
Yeah.
something, and that's honestly how I felt. And
Yeah.
then it was, and I needed to tell you that just to give you some backstory of how I felt and how it came to be. But in what really did it was when I was doing that, I was meeting other men and pastors, and they're telling me that my story and the support and my vulnerability was changing their lives.
Mm.
They want that my story, my testimony, my ministry, and I was reminded of my mother-in-law when she said that, and it all came full circle, is that it does not come in the shape or the form that you think.
Yeah.
Your story is appealing and can change lives. So I felt obligated, right? And I started to look at it in a sense of saying, this is something that my son will one day look at, my daughters will one day look at in their choosing of a man. And my son will be able to see that um, even if you feel that your contribution is small, right? It could have so much weight in the way of the world. So I adjusted, right, and got a little bit more comfortable with it, and I got over the imposter syndrome or
Yeah.
the issue of I'm gonna mess something up, and
Yeah.
just said, okay, this is how it was meant for me to be.
Yeah.
So that made it a little easier for me.
Yeah.
That's my full transition.
Yeah, right. Exactly. It's amazing what the universe, God does, and how he pushes you to where you got to go. Even like you said, you didn't expect it, but at least you were
Mhm.
able to, and you didn't reject it, and you kind of walked by faith. And look at you now, and all the amazing things you're doing. Um,
Yeah.
so I mean, you're in a public eye, and everyone loves you, but it also opens up a floodgate of critique, especially in this era of so many podcasts and what people should do in relationships and shouldn't do. And like you said, you don't like to give advice or get into other people's things, but if relationships and couples can learn from you guys' experience. But what do you
Hmm.
do for your own mental health after? I mean, you see certain people may attack your marriage or attack you and what you do for your marriage and how you are navigating your marriage and your family. What do you do for your mental health to kind of stay with the eyes on a prize in a way?
I think by being proactive and not being baited into certain questions, you know what I mean? I kind of avoid a lot of that,
Yeah.
right? And I really stay out of the comments, right? I kind of just I remember who I was prior to all of this. I'm really My wife gets on me. She like, you need to post, you need to put it, and I'm like, I'm busy, like
Yeah, yeah,
like,
yeah. Yeah.
like that ain't that ain't never really been my thing.
Right.
Um, and I really, to be quite honest with you, I've never really had anything bad. You know what I mean? Nobody's ever really had an issue with me. Um, we had one incident with one of the talk show hosts. I ain't gonna say no names, you know what I mean? But she kind of came. I thought it, and when she said it, I was like, I was honored. Like, man, she talking about me.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Right.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry, you know, man, because it's
Yeah.
still, man, like to me, I'm like, man, we just normal people.
Yeah.
We are literally the people next door to you. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, man, I've always considered myself just to be that. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
so when I'm hearing anybody, man, talk about me, but mostly with all the encounters, man, I've been blessed to meet people that I've admired, for years,
Yeah.
and they know my name, right? You know what I mean? It's like, hey, Chance, what's up? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm like, this dude know me, man. Like, so, and that's been 99.9% of the encounters I've
Yeah.
had. I ain't really had nobody come at me, with nothing bad.
Yeah.
So, and
That's a blessing.
I don't really have to do much in mental health as it pertains to this new journey.
Yeah.
I just got to remember who I am. I golf. I go hang with my boys.
Yeah.
My circle is still small.
Yeah.
You know, you know what I mean? Like I just keep and I've always moved like that. That has
Yeah.
nothing to do with this new life. It's just my circles have always been small. Um, with how I manage life,
Yeah.
right? I can encounter people in life and it can be in a large capacity, but how I manage my life, I do better when I keep my circle and my unit small,
Yeah.
right?
Definitely. I love that. Now, just a couple more questions before I let you go. It is the holiday times. Well, coming up. Any holiday traditions that you're excited about to share to have with the family this year?
You know what, man? We usually, I guess man, we usually just kicking around the house, man. I'm looking
Yeah.
forward to just my wife being off the road,
Yeah.
us clowning in the house, whether we in here singing,
Yeah.
playing spades, you know, doing a lot of, loud talking and cussing and you
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like, I
Yeah.
look forward to that, man. The
Definitely.
simple stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are our usual holiday traditions, man. We get our inner circle and everybody comes here, or we gather somewhere and just cut up,
Yeah. Good energy.
eat a bunch of food. Good,
Yeah.
that's it.
No, I
I
love
look
it.
forward to that.
Now,
Yeah.
so holidays are really stressful for some. What are three tips you have to kind of keep a calm house throughout the holidays? If you're hosting, you got people coming in and out.
Um, I don't overdo it. And
Okay.
when it comes to Christmas, remember what it's really about. Don't be out here trying to, spend money you ain't got.
Yeah.
All right. Don't spend money you ain't got. And then on the other end of that, don't expect something. Don't expect unrealistic things from people, man. Just because, you know what I mean? Just
Yeah.
and then last, it's kind of it's kind of man, when you go to people's crib, chip in.
There
Hey,
you go.
clean up. You know what I mean? Don't just come to their house. You know what I
That's a
mean?
that's a good one. I never heard that's a
Hey,
good one.
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Hey, look, man, everybody got to put in around here.
Yeah.
We entertain. If we entertain together, we got to clean up together.
Yeah.
You know what
We
I
make it feel
mean?
like home. We got to treat it like home.
Hey, yeah, let's get in here and get on these dishes before you leave. Get this trash out.
Yeah. Oh,
Right?
those are
But
some
you
good
know what
tips.
I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was probably the best tip I've ever heard for holiday.
Hey, man, listen, man.
Yeah.
I keep it real. I keep it
Yeah.
relatable to the point where I could probably give you some real thought out, deep.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
man, this is who I am. But my inner circle, we all know when we go to people's house, man. Like, look, they inviting us over.
Yeah.
Hey, look, man, before you leave, man, we got to clean up together. We got to get all this done.
That's a good one.
You know what I mean? We're gonna
Yeah.
enjoy, man.
That's a good one. That's a funny
It go a
one,
long
man.
way, man. It says
Yeah.
a lot about you too, and how you family. That's how I put it like that. It says a lot about you,
It
you
does,
know.
definitely, definitely. Now, before I let you go, 2024 is coming up. Any big goals? Is Team Chance basketball expanding? What can we expect from Chance Brown?
Um, I would love to expand Team Chance and be able to do more in the community as it pertains to kids. Um, but overall, what you can expect, you can expect consistency from me, right? That's my focus these days is to not lose myself in this new life, right? Not lose myself in the new blessings. I want to be able to be consistent. I want to be able. I'm gonna grow, right? I'm going to honor the blessing and
Yeah.
enjoy it, right? But at the same time, I don't want to lose myself. I want to be able to be a consistent human being. For
Mm.
everybody who encounters me, I would love to be able to have the impression that if they don't say anything, uh, they say, man, that dude was a genuine. He was consistent. Every time I see him, he's consistently the same person.
Mm.
Right. That's my goal for 2024 and from here on out.
Yeah. Well, no, I definitely love that. Listen, I could have interviewed you for hours and hours, but I know we gotta, respect time and everything. So I'm gonna let you go. This was a great conversation and just good luck with everything, man. I was really excited to have this conversation with you when I first met you at ABFF. And now that it's finally happened, I know our readers will just love to hear what you have to say. And as you're like grown this inspiring career, congratulations on everything. So just excited for what you have coming next with the consistency.
Thank you, man. I appreciate you again for choosing me for this, man.
No, definitely, definitely. All right, man. We'll be in touch. Enjoy the rest of your day. Hopefully the wind calms down. You can go out there on the golf course and get some stuff going on.
Yeah, I get to it.
All right, man. Take it easy, Chance
All
Brown.
right, man. All right, you take it
Thank you.
easy
Thank
too.
you.